Hi there, my name is Karlee Prins and I wanted to pop in here real quick to raise awareness not only on my sister's behalf, but for all of the people who are suffering from the same thing she is. So first of all, I want to thank you for clicking that play button and listening because it means the world to us. And I just want to help as best way as I can. So if you can go ahead and click the share button on this, we will be forever grateful for you. And here's a little bit of info that I know a lot of you probably don't know. Lyme disease and mold toxicity are no joke. This is something that I don't wish on anyone. And I want it to be known how much of an impact this has, not on my sister, not only my sister, because she's the one that's dealing with it every day. She's the one that has to stay mentally strong so that every morning she can put on a smile and just pretend that things are okay for her daughter's sake. But for her family too, you know. I don't want to bury my sister. And that is where this is headed if we don't get the help that we need. So I am sitting here as a helpless sister who doesn't know where else to go. And I'm reaching out to you guys. And there's a few ways that you can help. Okay, you can help by sharing this video. You can hashtag the crap out of this, okay, to any celebrity that you know. Avril Lavigne, Shania Twain, Ellen DeGeneres. We need her story known, okay? We need to fight for her because she'd do it for us in a heartbeat. And I am so grateful for her beautiful family, and I am willing to do anything it takes to help her the best that we can, okay? And if you're not able to give financially, I respect that and I thank you for even watching this video. But you can share this, you can hashtag this, and you can help spread the word, okay? For all those other people who are suffering in silence like she is. I salute you. And we need to band together to show her that her life is worth it, that her life matters, and that we are going to fight to the bitter end to get her the treatment that she needs. We need your help. And I am sitting here basically begging for it, and that is not that's not how our family is. You know, it's hard to sit here and ask for help. But this is, I believe in this so much that my sister deserves the help and she deserves to get her quality of life back. And I can't wait for that day. My sister is literally the most beautiful person I have ever met. She has the bluest eyes, and her personality is to die for, to be around. You can't help but smile when you are around her. And if you know her, you know exactly what I'm talking about. She just knows how to make everyone's day a little bit brighter. She's also the most giving person I've ever met. Even in her times of trial, right now, she is the first one to give to other people. She is the first one to say, how can I help? And not only that, she has two beautiful daughters, a 17-year-old and a 5-year-old. These two are the light of her life. And all she wants to do is to get well and be present for her children. Being a mom, as crazy as it is, and then to have an illness that on top of that, I just truly can't imagine. And if you're a mom out there, or if you have been a mom, you have grown children, or you're an auntie, you know how special and precious those years are. But every day she lives like she has the worst flu imaginable. Can you imagine that? Living every single day like that? I can't. And it's actually tremendously heartbreaking to watch alongside. Every day she is in flight or fight mode just to keep herself alive, really. What does that look like? All right, so I'm just going to be blatantly honest with you guys. Her case is not like anyone else's. Her case is very complicated. She's very sensitive to different protocols and all these different things that they've tried. And because she has the Lyme, lowered her immune system to the point where the mold could overgrowth, and it's just like this perfect storm that's created inside of her. Not only that, but she has cavitations in her, we all have cavitations, but whether or not they become pockets of infection is a different story. But she has cavitations here that need to be cleaned out. They've been cleaned out before by dentists in Calgary, and it hasn't stuck. And until she gets rid of the mold, she can't get rid of the cavitations, and she can't treat the Lyme until we deal with the mold. So it's this vicious cycle and this perfect created storm that's inside of her that I want you guys to know about, okay? Because nobody should have to live like this. Nobody. And unfortunately, we are not getting the help that she needs. And if we don't do something, the impact of all this is going to be catastrophic. And I would rather raise money now to get her the help that she needs instead of raising money later on to help her girls and to pay for her funeral. And that is the reality of what we are talking about now. Because if you read what mold toxicity does alone, even aside from the Lyme disease and the co-infections and everything else, the cavitations, if you read what mold toxicity causes, you guys, one of the #1 things is cancer, okay? This is a huge reality for a lot of people, but it's even higher for those that are have mold toxicity, okay? This impacts lives, and I can't convey to you enough what it has done to my sister's family. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of why we want to raise $150,000 for her, okay? So because of her difficult case, because of the treatment plans that she needs to kind of look at all these different aspects to not only treat the Lyme, but to treat the mold, to get rid of this, and everything works together, she's going to have to see the specialist in the States. And she has gone to Seattle a couple times. Dr. Klinghardt Clinic is where she has gone. Okay, if you're familiar with the Lyme world, you will know his name. He's world renowned, and he is a Lyme specialist. All right, and this is where she needs to go to have her treatment so that they can look at every single aspect all at once. To do that, she needs to get her home basically. When you are exposed to mold have mold toxicity and exposed to that over and over, your body becomes hyper aware, hypersensitive, and the slightest little bit can trigger it to kind of go in that fight or flight mode, and it also just makes her hyper aware and hypersensitive. So we need to get her home now where she's currently living, which is a safe, beautiful home for her family, but it needs to be basically like she's living in a bubble. Carpets need to be ripped out. The venting system needs to be cleaned. She needs to, any furniture that came from that old house has got to go. Anything that could be a trap mode for any of those mold spores. I mean, let's be honest. All of our houses are going to have mold to a certain extent, but we aren't sensitive like she is. So we need to create basically a sterile environment for her to live in with ventilation and different systems in place so that she can live the best possible way that she can and begin the treatment for the mold and for the Lyme. Once all her house is cleared of the carpet, cleared of, to make sure everything's cleaned out, then it's going to have to be the non-toxic glue for the flooring. It's going to have to be the flooring that doesn't have toxic chemicals in it, all right? Because again, when you are hyper aware and hypersensitive, any little bit of those things that you and I take for granted are going to make her sicker, okay? So it's basically like living in a complete sterile environment that is, yeah, very clean. It's going to require that all her appliances are replaced. It's going to require that a lot of her furniture that she has now is going to have to go and not be put back. She's been sleeping on an air mattress in her room for months because that mattress came from the old house and had to get out of there because that's something that you sleep on for like 8 hours a night, right? Sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But this is what this is why our family needs the help that we need. So in order to get her living in that sterile environment that I just talked about, we need to get enough money to clear her house out, okay? And not just us doing that. This needs to be done by a professional so it's done properly so that there's no chance that any current mold spores are spreading even farther. So that is going to be about $25,000. Once that's done, then we can go to Seattle, and in an ideal treatment plan, if she were to get the needs that she, or the treatment plan that she needs to get where she needs to go in order to have the success rate of treatment for her and to get the quality of life back, she will need to be seen by the clinic in Seattle every 3 months. All right, so each time she goes, that's $10,000. All right. And this isn't going to be a quick fix either. So once she's home, then those next 3 months, she's making, she has phone appointments with the doctors down there to kind of decide what that treatment's going to look like, talk about her progress, how to implement different things and all this kind of stuff. So her supplements alone, plus those phone appointments, are going to be about $3,000 a month. And we're talking like a few years of this. And once they get a handle on a little bit of this mold, getting these treatments done, getting the house stuff in place so that she can live in a sterile environment, she's got to deal with the cavitations in her jaw to clean them out. Basically, they're like infection pockets that are just sitting there festering and draining into her lymphatic system. I know, sounds pretty crazy, right? But again, this has all created that perfect storm inside her body that is literally attacking itself, and she's in constant flight or fight mode. Now you can kind of understand why I say that. With cases that are complicated, like my sister, the reason why we want to take her to Seattle is so that they encompass every aspect of that, what's going on with her, and they titrate everything so that it's tailored to exactly what she needs. Unfortunately, with chronic illness and mold toxicity like this, there's not a one type treatment that is just going to work and that's the end all be all. It's going to take things that are going to try here and fail here, and it's going to take monitoring and watching and seeing how her body reacts to different things as they kill everything off. Because you can imagine the toxins that are going to be released when they start this treatment. Once that's said and done, getting the cavitations, she's going to have to go to a clinic in Vancouver to get that done, which is going to be about $6,000 per side, plus flights and hotel and all that, in order to deal with this. So you can imagine, we have all this information, we know what she needs to do, and it's just finding a massive amount of money to make it happen, you guys. All right, but we shouldn't have to fight so hard for our health care. Okay, but it's not readily available here in Canada, and we do. We have to fight for every little thing that that she needs. And not only that, we want to make sure that her daughters are taken care of as well. All right, if they need treatment or anything, we are advocating for her to get the testing done as well so that she doesn't have to live, her little girl doesn't have to live with a chronic illness as well. And there is not a doubt in my mind that when she is better, she will give and give and give and fight for those that don't have a voice, all right? Because she will have walked through the trenches and come out the other side. And you will have a part of that. So thank you. Thank you, thank you. So what happened? I'm sure most of you want to kind of know the backstory to that. So 10 years ago, she went on a trip to BC, and when she came back, she kind of noticed that she had a rash on her leg. The rash would go away with antibiotics and then it'd come back. They tried different ointments and creams and all that kind of stuff. She never clearly had a bullseye effect or noticed a bug bite or anything like that. But what we know now was the starting point of her Lyme. She was diagnosed with it right about when she was 6 weeks pregnant. So if you know anything about it, it can be passed maternally. Now at the same time, we didn't realize the house that she was living in had been, had some mold in it. Like, we're talking black mold, the mold that nobody should be around. And she lived in that home for 10 years. Lyme's disease and mold toxicity are no joke, and I want to make sure that nobody suffers like she is. You know, we take for granted that we can just drive to the grocery store and go get groceries, or play with our kids at the park, or run around with them and go for walks, and we don't even have to think of those things. I don't think anyone really realizes the debilitating effect that a chronic illness like Lyme disease and mold toxicity will have on a person. And if you're new to all this, you guys, you don't totally understand it, I get that, okay? I was in the same boat for a while until I realized the impact that this is having on my family, and particularly my sister and her family. Everything that she's ever known before is just taken away. she was the type of person, and if you worked with her, you know this. She was on top of everything. She was, she just got it. You know what I mean? She was motivated. She was determined. She had all the drive and ambition and just did a job well done. And so for her to just be stuck at home and not able to drive and to go to these places and just, you know, go grab a coffee or do those things that we take for granted, that is just, it's painful, you guys. And that is so out of her character. It's not even funny, okay? And not only that, just how many of us take for granted taking our kids to the park or going swimming or any of those extra things that we just do because we want to do them. The point of this is to just share with you guys the impact that this chronic disease and illness has on her and her family, all right? And I'm begging that you help me share this so that we can reach the masses and the people that we need to reach. Avril Lavigne, Shania Twain, those are some of the celebrities that have dealt with the same things she has. They know what she's going through. You know what I mean? We need people like Ellen DeGeneres. We need the masses amount of people that have momentum and movement and can take that action of what she truly needs. By sharing this video, you will help us reach the masses that we are hoping to reach, all right? I know that this is going to sound crazy to most of you, but the goal of raising $150,000 for her, I know, sounds crazy, but her life is worth every bit of that. So we need to reach the masses with this one, guys, and I appreciate all the help that you can give by clicking that share button. And if you want to know how you can help contribute to this massive action that we are taking, simply comment below or send me a message. I will have my PayPal set up so that I can take donations directly and don't have to go through anything, so that every little bit of the money goes straight to her and her family. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of my sister's heart, and her family and my family. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing this, and thank you for helping spread this word of this horrible chronic disease that nobody should have to suffer with.